Chris, I'm live. And
go live, Jim.
I'm live. And I will turn this around. Welcome, everybody. We are here tonight with an esteemed group. We are going to test the very limits of technology as we talk to our audience about the best way to have an incredible experience, whether you're in person or in a meta type dynamic. You're going to be able to hear from some very knowledgeable people in the space. If you can look up on the screen, you'll be able to see a beginning of what we have. Yukai Chou is joined us from Taiwan. He has an author, talks about motivation, and we'll talk about the motivation that happens at a conference. You'll also see that we are maxing out our MetaCon experience here in Decentraland with Metatrekkers, and we are joined by Chris Oniya, the Houston ambassador for the Texas Blockchain Council, as well as the founder of Metatrekkers. Hello, Chris.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We also have Michael Huynh from one of the founders of Decentraland Miami. He has an event going on in a few weeks, is that right? November 28th and 29th. And we also have Sarah Weisfeld. She is president of Layer 1, and she has a number of things that she's just completed in Las Vegas, has more things up ahead. Would you like to mention a couple of those, maybe?
Next up, we have Coin Agenda Caribbean, December 5th to 7th in Puerto Rico, part of Puerto Rico Blockchain Week as well.
And then Chris, is there anything you'd like to mention that you have coming up? I know you've got a lot of things cooking.
Oh man, that's a good question. Not really, just working together with TBC, hopefully Michael, DCENTRAL, and many other conferences, trying to stream everything into the Metaverse so people all around the world can get this, this great experience.
And we are live here in Houston at the Cannon West, so we thank them. This is their theater room, and we're excited to be joined. And as you saw in the background originally, there's a lot of technology that's coming into play here. But I'm going to start with a few questions here in the room for the panel, and we're not going to ask everybody the same question. We're also going to make sure that we travel literally worldwide with Yukai to have him answer a few key questions. And then Chris, we'll have you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the virtual world. All right, so I'll just ask who wants to volunteer to go first? All right, Michael. So here's the question. What's the best advice you'd give to conference attendees?
Enjoy the experience and maximize your time there, because whenever you're there for 2-3 days, even up to a week, you want to make sure you get your money's worth, right? You want to maximize every single second that you can, because afterwards, after you get all the connections, after you meet all the people, once you go back home, it's kind of like you get to network with them, like reconnect with them. So try to maximize your time by enjoying it with the ones at the conference and just have a fun time.
Do you find and see people have difficulties trying to be in two places at once?
Sometimes. So like, let's say there's two events that are going on within like this. Let's say there's two talks that are going on. See which one's going to be more of value to you, right? If you're really interested in a certain subject, go and learn about it. Because the reason the conferences are made there is to bring value from the speakers that are within the industry, to make it to where you can learn something. If you go to a talk and you don't learn anything from it, it's a bad talk.
Fair enough. Now, Sarah, you just had a couple of events. You're headed to Puerto Rico in a couple of weeks. What is it that you would tell people in that regard? What's the best advice that you could give to conference attendees?
Yeah, well, we just had Coin Agenda Global in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and we will be in Puerto Rico in December. And I think especially in this industry, like Michael just said, there's a lot going on, whether it's one conference or, one city, and just kind of trust where you're going and follow the people that you want to learn with, and focus more on the quality, I think, than the quantity. It's really easy to just kind of keep going nonstop, especially in these environments where, it's the conference and then it's the parties and then the after parties, and the networking just kind of happens all night, and then you do it again for 5 days or a month. And we actually don't have the capacity to retain all of that as human beings. It's important to sleep, and
at a conference, it's important to sleep.
To get a little bit of sleep at least.
All right.
It sort of balances out, and
okay.
I mean, of course, it's like the FOMO factor is real, but just trust your needs, check in with your body. You know, if you need to eat, go have lunch. Invite somebody to go have lunch with you. It's okay to like have a smaller, intimate gathering, maybe like over lunch or coffee, because that's what you need, and like missing a session. And I actually find sometimes like the most magic actually happens outside of listening to a panel, but it's also important to listen to the panels and kind of absorb that content, because that becomes the conversation for the next several days. So I think it's good to get both.
Fair enough. We'll move over to Chris, who's hustling and making things happen. What is it that you want to share with the group in terms of what you would tell conference attendees? And maybe since they were, I think, talking more specifically about in real life, maybe what should we look for in the metaverse?
Yeah, so when attending a conference, before attending a conference, right?
Yeah.
What normally I would like to do is before I actually attend a conference, I would like to look these conference participants, the speakers, look them up on LinkedIn and do my research and try to find out as much as I can about them. So before actually coming to the conference, I could have, you know, a good understanding about them, and also maybe adding them as a friend as well, and letting them know I'm coming to their speech or their presentation or a session, and you know, I'm coming to support them, and that can kind of help you build rapport. So I think that online in the metaverse, it's a lot easier than it is in the real world. Because in the real world, when you have at these conferences, you got to wait in line and try to speak to them and chase them down. And how many people can you speak to in a conference? When you're in the metaverse, you can speak to the masses. So I think just doing your homework before the conference is very essential when going in the metaverse.
And so let me ask you a question that people are probably wondering at home, or at least I am authentically. I mean, are you taking the headsets, and are there different personas that are going to be there? Like if I were to look on the screen now, are we going to see people that are in the different locations? And maybe you could tell people how they can find Decentraland, because you guys have a lot going on. I'm going to come right back to you after a quick question with Yukai to give you some room to demonstrate what's going on out there.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yukai, you're on the big screen. Can you hear us okay? Like I said, we're testing the limits of technology right in front of your very eyes. Yukai, can you hear us okay? We might be on a little bit of a tape delay. We're going to battle through and see what we can get done.
Yukai, can you hear us, Yukai? Janelle, mute your microphone, please, Janelle. Yukai, can you hear us?
This mic is live too, so we're going to have two mics.
There's two mics talking right now.
This one and that one. Yep. So Yukai, we're going to come back to you in just a second as we work through the technological challenges. I can even hear the echo here in the room. Maybe we'll just turn the mic over to Yukai and have him talk in general terms.
Yeah, but maybe put yours on mute and have Yukai, can you just put Yukai's on? I mean, yours on mute, Jim. If that's okay.
So for those listening on the YouTube channel, we're gonna ask you to hang tight for a second as we look at trying to listen to Yukai best we know how.
There's an echo for some reason.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here with the multiple streams, but like we said, we're testing the limits of technology here. I am going to ask another question about, I mean, you guys went down kind of an educational path very quickly, but let's talk about the physicality of conferences. Even what you wear. I mean, Sarah, you said here a second ago that you thought about outfits and even showing up today in a pink outfit, but you have a very nice hat. What do you think about when you go to these conferences? Is it to get noticed, to fall back and not be noticed?
That's a good question, Jim. And I was sort of joking about the pink onesie, but also not, because, you know, just based on the conversation of the physicality and appearance and presence. And I think, some of it is like, what is your goal? What's your intention in going to these events? And I think that, it's important to just like be yourself. You don't want to dress in a way that's not who you are. I think this industry is a pretty casual industry, compared to some other industries. So I don't think there's as much kind of like expectation or pressure for somebody to maybe dress in a way that they're not comfortable dressing. It's pretty accepting of anything that you want to wear. I personally do tend to wear a hat a lot of times, actually.
Okay.
And it's really interesting, especially when I'm working events, because it helps people be able to find me easier just running around and doing events. And there are a lot of events that I attend, and sometimes I wear a hat, sometimes I don't. But I think, as long as you're comfortable, if there's something that you wear maybe that helps you feel like more confident or socially confident, I would say that's a great thing, because part of the purpose, I think, in attending conferences for a lot of people is building a network, meeting people. So whatever can kind of help you feel comfortable approaching people is a good way of thinking about it. But I don't think it matters so much about, what you wear. Or
What about shoes? People, the high heels, the business shoes, the tennis shoes, you can get a lot of trouble. Yeah, no. Thoughts, Michael?
There'd be a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Do not wear high heels. If
Yeah.
you have tennis shoes or sneakers, please wear them. It's just a lot of space, and kind of like to piggyback off what she was saying too, is like, just, wear clothes that you're comfortable with. Like for me, for example, my shirt says JPEG Rich Crypto Porn.
All right.
And everyone's like, wow, where'd you get that shirt? This is actually our shirt for Decentral Austin. And the reason that we did that was because the industry is, there's so many different variables and so many different characters. Like, even if you look at like Vitalik wore a buffacorn at ETH Denver as his outfit, right?
Okay.
We want to make it to where it's fun, entertaining, and just be yourself. You don't have to, if you're doing business deals, then yeah, you can wear a suit and kind of like make sure you get those deals and everything. But I think just enjoying it and being yourself and just kind of like laying back a little bit during the conferences is for you to get the information, be able to network, be able to meet people that are like-minded as well.
Let's talk about like beyond networking for just a second. What if you're there kind of on the business purpose, and should you be buying things at these conferences? If that's what you're looking for?
It kind of depends in terms of buying. So like if you're buying merch or something like that, it should be kind of like given to you for free. It's just the way that the industry is. Like usually t-shirts and everything are ways for companies to do marketing. So they'll kind of give it away. They'll kind of give you free things at the conferences. If you're buying things, please buy water. Make sure you drink water at the conference, staying hydrated. The last thing we want you to do is be running around and something happen. But other than that, usually a lot of things are usually sponsored by, or the organizers try to make it as much to where we find sponsors to have that, have those things available, like coffee, food, drinks, beverages, maybe even having an after party and everything. Us as organizers we're trying to find the best way to make it to where it's easiest for you, so that in case you lose your wallet, we got you covered.
Sure. Do you feel like though, and I think the different merch that's available, but do you feel like there are approaches you should have with business transactions that are out there that you should be careful of, leery of, full force ahead? Which way is the best way to play that?
It's kind of like every business, right? There's always going to be dangers. There's always going to be good excitements. You just got to find the ones that fit for you. And there are going to be a lot of people that are investors. There are going to be a lot of people that are marketers, or things that you're looking for your company, or whenever you're networking, like these individuals that you're looking for, just making sure that they vibe with you and you're able to work with them. That's about it.
All right, and we've got Chris back in the mix. Chris, I'm gonna ask you a question about attendance at the conference. You are an incredible promoter. Like, you may not know it when you talk to Chris, but all of a sudden he's taking a photo, he's taking a video, and now you're on. Where do you publish stuff to, Chris?
We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're trying to get to TikTok now as well. So we're on multiple platforms.
Yeah, so what's your take, and then I'm going to ask for an opposing view if anyone has one, on how much content to create while you're at the different events? Because you are not only at the event, but you're letting people know you're there. Some people may keep a lower profile.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what the person's key objective is. And I think the reason why I post a lot at these events, because I just want to try to get a lot of engagement and have the people that I'm surrounding myself with, have them feel that like they're at the event themselves. So I'm just constantly trying to figure out that experience. Like for example, Yukai, he's now ready to talk and he wants to kind of engage and give that, you want to give him that feeling. He's ready.
He's ready? He's chomping?
ready.
He's chomping?
Yes.
Do you want him to go first, or do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to do the tour?
Okay, I can do the tour.
Let's
first.
do the quick
Let's do
tour.
the tour.
I'm going to pull up on the screen, and you'll see Yukai there.
Okay.
And you can see our YouTube feed, so we do have a lot of tech going here.
Okay, so Janelle, if you can, Janelle, can you just show the clubhouse? Just the clubhouse on the screen? Berlin and Janelle, can you guys just show me the clubhouse? Okay, perfect. And Berlin, maybe you can give us a tour, Berlin. You talk and you tell us about what we got over here.
So everybody, this is the Metaverse.
I think one person talk. Let them talk. So there we go. Okay, talk. Okay, let me. I'll speak, Berlin. I'll speak. So go to the left. So guys, you see, of course, go to the left. Go to my picture. My picture on the left.
Those are other people in the Metaverse
On the
watching
left,
right now.
There you go. Keep going. The left. Oh my goodness. There you go. Okay, perfect. Stop.
All this will be corrected in post.
Okay, guys. So
Post-production.
This is me, of course. And then over here you have Michael. What we did was we put Michael's picture here, and we also put what Michael represents. What he represents is Decentral Miami, Decentral Con. So we actually put his logo here. So if you click on it, it will give you a brief description about Michael. Click on Michael, Berlin. Click on it. No, not me, Michael.
That's good, though. Either one. Yeah.
There you go. And so what we're trying to do is really get that experience. We want to have it where, for example, people around the world, we have people right now in France, Italy, Japan, they can't make it to Houston, Texas. But being in the Metaverse, they're allowed. And they can know about Michael and do this. They can actually go to his website and then go to his socials and connect with him all around the world. Okay, next person, Janelle. I mean, Berlin. Next person, you can cancel it.
Julio Balbuena says, wow, this is interesting. So people are online watching, Chris.
That's Jim right now. I had to do my research. Jim has his company research group. He's also the Chief Revenue Officer for Texas Blockchain Council. And we want to learn more about Jim. We just click the website and take us to him directly. All right, next one, Janelle. I mean Berlin. I'm sorry, Berlin. And then we have Sarah. I know Sarah's dad. Me and Sarah's dad are already close, and he's Sheldon. He's actually here today.
Sheldon is here.
Sheldon is here today. OG Sheldon. But yeah, this is also about Sarah as well, and what she has going on and her initiative. Her father's here. He's smiling. He's happy. So this is what we're trying to do. We're really trying to find new ways of how to be immersive online. Click again, Berlin. The next person, please. And then we have my brother here, my blood brother. We look alike sometimes. Today we don't. But Yukai Chou, you guys know who he is, the godfather of gamification. He's here. He'll be giving us some opening remarks as well. And it has a lot about him, Metablocks, his project, and what's going on. So I'm excited on what we're doing today. Today is just a test run, just to show what we're doing. But going forward, there will be a lot more engagement and a lot more people inside. So this is pretty. Today we didn't scale it. Also, you can just see the flyer here. You can see what the flyer we post on social media. You can see us on the screen. So we're actually being streamed live on the screen right now. So everything that I've been showing you guys, they can see it in the Metaverse as well. So we have somebody in here right now. I'm not sure who that guy is, but he's watching. Okay, go to the right. Swivel Meta. Go to the right. Here, stop here, and click on Lee Bratcher. The handsome dude with the shirt and with the suit. The handsome dude with the suit on the right side. There you go. Perfect. Click on this one, please. So Lee Bratcher, a lot of you guys may know, he's the founder and president of the Texas Blockchain Council. He created the Texas Blockchain Council, and what's so interesting was Lee Bratcher and me, we did a research session a year ago about the Metaverse. So when I first, a year and a half ago, when I started my project, he came in and started asking a lot of questions and said that he wanted to get Texas Blockchain Council more involved. So it's so funny how, you know, it's been over a year now, and we're really now starting to be really immersive. So this is about Lee and his story and what he has going on and his website. We're not gonna go too much in detail, but you know, people around the world now can have exclusive access to Lee and know more about him, not just in Houston and not just in Texas. So I'm going to change the name. It's not going to be called Texas Blockchain Council. We're going to call it Worldwide Blockchain Council now. Okay, you can cancel this one, Berlin. Press cancel.
And Chris, more feedback from the audience. They love the tech. They say you're already in 2030, man.
And here what we got right now is Lee Bratcher, Texas Blockchain Council, I'm sorry. They have something called the Texas Blockchain Summit. And this is a very big conference they have going on November 17th, 18th. Open the website. I'm not going to do any shilling. Just open the website really quickly, Berlin. Press open on the website. But this is something that they have going on right now on the 17th and 18th. And now we're making it accessible for people all around the world. So if they click on this one, it'll take them actually to the website. And they can know more about it. So this is what we're doing now. Like, there's no need to do just for everything to be offline in the real world. We can go digital, we can go global now. Thank you, go back to the Metaverse. I just wanted to show them, you can go back to the Metaverse. We're not going to shield today. Okay. and they have another event in Austin. I'm not sure what that is, but all we did was help them post the events that's going on. And that's pretty cool. And the last, it's called Building Blocks, Crypto in Texas, November 15th. I didn't even know about this. My team went up and said, hey, Texas Blockchain Council has more events. I was like, really? Why didn't I hear about it? And then we went and posted it. So it's just showing you how we can scale things now. Press cancel, that's it, Berlin. And the next thing is a POAP. A lot of you guys know what a POAP is. Proof of, I think it's called participation attendance. And it just means that you were here this day at this time, and it's proof. So we'll be issuing these out to everybody that has a MetaMask wallet. And this will be proof that we had an event today and you were here, and we registered on the blockchain. So that's something I think pretty interesting as well. Whenever people start going to these conferences, it's now you have a proof. And that's it. Everything else, I'm not going to go too much in detail because I don't want to, I just want to show you guys what's going on. Today's just a test trial, but usually when we have events, you can go on our Twitter space. We have about over 100 people that come out to our events, over 100 people. So today, just like I said, a test trial. What I want to do now is get the mic to Yukai. People walking around. I don't even know where he's from. They're just walking around and they're learning. They're learning about you guys and they're watching us. So our brand is now going global. What I want to do now is I want us to give the mic to Yukai Chou. He's been here for a while. We had some technical difficulties earlier, but let's have him speak a little bit. There is a slight delay. So Jim, after you speak, we'll just wait a couple seconds, then he'll speak. So let's ask him, I guess, a brief introduction. Yukai, there's like a slight delay, but do you mind giving us Jim, what kind of question would you like us to ask?
Well, I love, he's written books about motivation, and I really wanted to get his kind of like core thinking on motivation and what makes people want to go to conferences, want to build community. He's an expert on community building and what he thinks the advantages of like in real life versus Metaverse.
Which means that if there's none of this 8 core drive there, there's 0 motivation. And then among 8 core drive, there's what we call left brain versus right brain core drives. One deals with extrinsic motivation. You're doing something for a reward, goal, it's results driven. Whereas there's a right brain core drive deal with intrinsic motivation. You do it just because you enjoy it. So some people are here because of the intrinsic motivation. They just want to have a journey adventure. They want to connect with people. That's core drive 5, social relatedness. And I think that's because a lot of people in their normal communities and natural habitats, they're like the only crazy people there. It feels like they're talking about Web3, they're talking about blockchain stuff, and their friends like, no, that's a scam, that's stupid. And it's like, wow, am I the only crazy person? And when you go to these conferences, you get to connect with people. Like everyone's using the same language. Everyone, especially very, very intelligent people out there, are saying the things that you're saying. So you feel, wow, this thing is real. I'm not delusional. There's a real world out there about this, and that's intrinsically why we want to go out and connect. Now, there's the extrinsic motivation core drives that make you want to do it too. And that's basically what you're trying to get, right? If you have a project, you obviously want more people to know about it. You might be looking for a project to help out. So you're connecting with investors, project to join. You're looking for a good project to invest in. So those are just basically you're trying to achieve a result. And I think everyone's there because they feel like before the conference, after the conference, there's going to be a net plus in value. If you look at well-known people's biographies, sometimes you flip a page and 2 years go by because they joined this company and nothing happened, and they'll dedicate a whole chapter just on one conference and how they met their co-founder, right? Because that was a pivotal moment in their lives and that made them, I guess, worthy of writing that biography for. So I highly recommend going to these event conferences, connecting, and who knows what great things the universe will bring to you.
Can I? Which one do you think is more important? Do you think the validation of self, or do you feel like it's more important to be part of the community for most people, based on your experience? Are they one and the same?
If I had to choose, because they're very, very similar, validation of self. Most people want to be part of the community because they want validation of themselves. Social status, social acceptance, who they are. I think a lot of things we do, the work we do, it's to obviously stay alive. But beyond that, it's really about, self-esteem. It's about knowing who you are in this world. It's about gaining respect from others. And so if you go to the core of it, I think it's more validating yourself. You want to respect yourself, and the signal you're getting, you use to respect yourself is whether other people respect you or not. Interestingly, and then some people hack it by just respecting themselves no matter what, and they're the people who kind of they just have general self-esteem without any need for validation.
And Yukai, that is great. I wish we could, we probably should set up a whole different scenario to work with you through a Zoom call. We are, like I said earlier, pushing the limits of technology. Thank you for joining us from Taiwan. We're honored that you're here today, and we look forward to connecting with you again in the near future. But again, thank you very much. And I'm going to take it back here to Houston in person live. And if we'll turn that volume down, like I said, we are testing technology limits. What I wanted to ask the people in the room, and Chris, wow, man, what a tour. Let's get some feedback from Michael or Sarah in terms of what you saw, Michael, there with the tech and what he's trying to accomplish and what he is accomplishing.
Yeah, I think that Facebook is onto something. So if you're looking at Meta, right, like the purpose of the Metaverse is actually creating an alternate reality that you can actually place online. And this has been in Ready Player One since forever. It's just kind of like now coming to fruition with the technology to be able to live stream, be able to kind of get your characters into it. Think of it as like over time, it's going to have a bigger effect because as social games are now starting to switch over to the Metaverse side, you're starting to see more of the shift over. And I think that like having conferences, having areas to where, let's say during a time where, for example, the big C word that we probably can or can't say on YouTube. During that time, a lot of people were on Zoom.
You can't. Just say that. Yeah.
A lot of people were on Zoom and kind of like on these virtual conferences. So for them, it's like, what about these people that are not able to fly over from, around the world? For them, it's being able to zoom in and go into a conference and interacting with one another. I think that what we're missing in terms of just watching a video compared to actually having a character there is like that human emotion, because you can start seeing gestures and everything kind of from the other characters.
Sarah, I'm going to ask, I don't know if for the conferences that you have that you sell a virtual pass, but do you feel like there's going to be one level like virtual pass and then there's another program for people who have the headsets and it is Metaverse and they get to wear an outfit versus just watching? Is that possible, or is that?
I think it's possible, generally speaking. Coin Agenda has been in real life, in person only. That's kind of been our model. We have not offered virtual in the past, and I don't know if we will in the future, but I think there's value to being with people in person where you're able to just kind of naturally connect and run into people. And obviously with the metaverse, some of that's more capable than, you know, Zoom or a virtual interaction. So, or just, you know, watching a lot of presentations where there's actually no engagement with the audience. You're just kind of receiving a one-sided experience,
right.
which can be hard to focus. And I think especially for people who are visual learners, that's really difficult. And so I see a lot of opportunity with the metaverse. And thanks, Chris, for walking us through that, because it was really cool to see. And you know, it looks like we have a couple new friends in the metaverse now. So I don't know, that's just really cool to see that. And I really liked how you could click on the bios and it was a little more interactive. And I think, you know, when you talk about
Oh,
different
there
kinds
comes
of-
somebody.
Yeah, when you talk about different kinds of learning, visual learning, you know, we know that video is
Well, there's
kind of
somebody
a leading
waving.
marketing
Yeah.
outlet, and so this is along the lines of that versus kind of a 1 or 2D reality. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I mean, it's going to be exciting to see. And actually kind of getting to see what it would be like in the metaverse it actually opened my mind a little bit to the possibility of being a participant for a conference in the metaverse, whereas before I sort of felt very adamant about only in person.
Yeah, you talk about outfits. You saw what these
Yeah.
I mean, look what they're wearing. Holy
Man,
moly.
Guys, you know what's so funny? We just had a very big event on Tuesday. It hit the news. You can look it up on Google. So it's in Mexico. They have something called Day of the Dead.
Yeah,
And
look
so
at that. They're
if
getting
if you see the person, she's wearing the Day of the Dead outfit. We actually created a Day of the Dead clothes as well. Oh, right there in the purple, right there in the purple on the left side. They're actually wearing the Day of the Dead outfit. These are real people. These are real people.
Like, can they hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you. They can hear you. They can hear you on TV. Yeah.
Whoa.
Look, see, that's the Day of the Dead outfit. They can hear you. These are real people. They
Amazing.
are coming to dance. They can dance. Somebody dance. Somebody dance inside. Berlin, let's look at somebody. These are real people.
Are they wearing their
Yeah,
headsets
wait,
at home?
Look, they're dancing. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir.
Look. Yeah.
That's great.
We're breaking boundaries. We're breaking boundaries, and I think I'm really bullish on education in the metaverse. And I'm so happy that Jim was able to. Or look, they're dancing. Look crazy. But I'm so happy
We should
that
be dancing.
They
I'm
are
so happy that
dancing.
Jim was able to organize this conference because I think this is where we're gonna go. We have to go digital. Imagine now if people out around the world that maybe don't have access to the plane tickets or hotels and they can't have access to these conferences. How do we allow them to still come? There's something called token gating. I think a lot of you might be familiar with token gating, but token gating is like VIP. Like we can still have this conference online and people can still pay and still charge for tickets. It's the same thing. Nothing changes.
Look, he's paying.
Huh? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
The money.
that's good. Yeah. So I'm just excited, man, where we're going. It's just that, of course, the technology has to get better, but at least that we...
There's some money. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. And I know, Chris, you've hosted different, tell about, you're the ultimate, there's a bridge somewhere between in real life, right, and then the live pass where you're viewing only to you're basically saying everyone's selecting outfits, choosing how they approach it. How do you fast forward this approach? You're doing some of the heavy lifting right now by setting up the tech and bringing us together and letting people see the possibilities, but how do you see this playing out? Is this a 2023 thing? Is this a 2030 thing? How fast is this going to happen? And hey, let's be real, Facebook, now Meta, their stock's taking a big hit. A lot of stocks have taken hits this year, but he's bet the company that this thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
What's your take?
So I have one of my advisors to Metatrekkers. He works for DCENTRAL. I'm not sure if you guys know, but they're the consultant for Microsoft and Facebook. So Microsoft and Facebook, for the first time, decided to come together to create their own metaverse. So it's a three-party team. Microsoft, Facebook, and DCENTRAL for this. And he's from Rice University, and we're speaking a couple days ago, and he showed me the technology that they have. It is wild. It is wild. I love Decentraland. You guys, I love you out there. Don't take it the wrong way. No. I'm from Decentraland, but no, I've seen the technology. They showed it to me this past weekend. It's crazy. Like what Jim is doing right now, they'll just while Jim showed while he's putting the phone on you, you automatically become an avatar. You don't even need to go in the computer. You don't need to type anything. You don't need to select clothes. You just put the phone on you and you automatically convert into an avatar. So what a lot of people don't know when they say Facebook stock went down, this is the best time to buy. This is actually the best time to buy because I'm sorry, not financial advice.
Not yeah.
No, not financial advice. But
Talk about events.
Yeah. What I'm talking about right now is that I think that they're in the best place they can be right now. They're building. And we all know it's the best time to build when you're in a recession or when it's a boom, when it's a bear market. So I'm very bullish on Facebook. Please, DCENTRAL, forgive me. You know, it's just very, but yeah, I think the metaverse, I look at it about a year and a half, max 2 years, you will start to see a lot of global adoption. The same thing will happen with crypto, same thing will happen with NFTs. I think the metaverse is the next one. One more thing, Jim, I get passionate about this. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, that's what we're here for.
I finally figured it out. And this is something that took me a lot of reflection. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Blockchain is the underlying technology that we use to create these experiences or to lead these memories. Blockchain. After blockchain, you have cryptocurrency. We use cryptocurrency to do transactions on blockchain. It stores on the ledger. After cryptocurrency, what can you buy with cryptocurrency? You can't right now go and buy food or something in the real world. So you can, but not you can't scale it. It's not a lot of companies are doing it. So what can you buy in Web3 with cryptocurrency that you can scale?
So bad.
Experiences.
Data.
NFTs. Compared to other
That's
things.
true too. Yeah.
NFTs is probably one of the things that you can really scale. It's actually a Web3 product. NFTs. Okay. Now we have NFTs. Where do you display the NFTs?
In the metaverse.
Boom, Sarah. Thank you. All this stuff you're seeing right now, they're NFTs. These people all these pictures we put of you guys are NFTs. But you can't just say, oh, it's my wallet. That's boring. But if you can have your own venue, your own store, your own place in the metaverse, you can store it. That's where you can see the value of the metaverse coming. After you have the NFTs in the metaverse, then what do you need? You can't walk around naked, right? You need clothes. That orange and black outfit right there is our outfit. We designed it. People are buying them. You can see our logo.
Oh, look.
You see the logo on his chest? That's our logo, Metatrekkers. Look at it. Look at the top of the screen and look at his chest. That's our logo. They're buying clothes now. Because when Gucci just came inside the metaverse, these big brands are coming in. So they use these shoes. We're selling shoes there as well.
I saw the Gucci thing. That was this week, right?
Yes. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I think that to answer Jim's question, I think less than 2 years, I think will be the masses, but not, it will be more mainstream. In about 2 years or so, we'll be more mainstream.
All right. So I need some help here, Chris, because that's your passion is unmistakable. He's flying now.
Yeah.
He's got an outfit that allows him to fly, or she.
Passion set him off.
I mean, he's floating on air. So, and that's my next question. All right, so Michael or Sarah, if not both of you. So a lot of times people will go to these conferences. They'll be so excited. Imagine, we'll Americanize this a little bit. You come back for the holiday and you want to tell everyone about how amazing it is. How do you kind of re-enter with all the knowledge and all the education? And this can be at your home, this can be at your workplace, right? Because you just got all these really smart people telling you all these really smart things, and now you want to come back and you want them to understand how awesome and successful they will be if they would just listen. But sometimes you come in hot and people don't listen as much. Have you seen this, or how do you recommend people re-enter after coming back from a conference to the real world of work and family?
I would not talk about it. The reason why,
You would not talk about the conference?
The reason why is because whenever you hear something for the first time, you need to go and don't trust but verify.
Okay.
Go learn the research, see if this is credible. Afterwards, really dive into it. And then once you're comfortable with it, then start slowly teaching someone about it, right? If you heard the topic for the first time, saying, hey, I want to go into this, I want to go into that, you're not seeing the entire picture of it. Like whenever, let's say for example, like whenever people are like, hey, look, Bitcoin is like at this price and you should definitely get in. But it's like, you need to understand why this technology is there. And
Well, that was last year at this time. It was 60,000+, right? Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, like I can make so much money off of it. But the main purpose of it is to kind of, there's so many things in underlying technology that you have to understand before you go into it, right? And I think that for me, I wouldn't say anything until I get more and actually understand the subjects and then really dive into it. And then slowly over time, ask questions, go out and reach out to other people saying, hey, I have questions. what is this about? Join some communities, and then once you're focused on that subject and you understand it, then go ahead and tell family. Because that's when it's like you already understand what's going on. Compared to, hey, look, this this brand new thing just came out yesterday, and you're gonna make money off of it. If you say that to me, I would not buy anything that you're saying, right?
Yeah,
So I think that just learning more about it. I know you're excited, you took down notes, but now put on the student hat and learn more about it.
How about you, Sarah, from like a business setting? Maybe somebody going back to, I mean, it's an honor to be selected to go to a conference like this. And so you come back from let's say you're in a corporation and now you want to share all your knowledge.
I think there's a few angles on that. I think Michael touched on it more from kind of the financial advice investing
Yes.
Angle, which, I agree with that. Obviously, you don't want to give people advice when you don't even know what the full picture is. But I think, personally, coming back from a conference, we come back, we're usually on some sort of high. And I think before kind of going out into the world all excited and, gleefully, it's like good to have some decompression. And that's kind of for anything, Burning Man, Web3 conferences, sometimes maybe similar. But I think that decompression is really important because it's also that integration. Like, we come back from this conference and then it's like, what do we do with all this information? What do we do with all the relationships? And sometimes it can be overwhelming and, maybe you're jumping right back into whatever you're doing the next day or, I think a lot of people just go. And so taking time to sort of decompress, look at it and get a little bit clear, like what Michael was talking about. What are the areas that you maybe want to dive a little deeper in, a few relationships that you want to go deeper in. And then I think it's people are like, how was your event? Or how was that event? And people want to know because they care about you and they're curious, or what did you learn? And I think when people ask those questions, like, show up, be present, share about your experience. There's nothing wrong with that. That's different than telling somebody to invest in something. So I think absolutely, that's conversation. And the way that we share this, the way that we share Web3 is by talking. We're the ones at the conference, you're talking about, Chris, taking the metaverse globally so that people can have that experience, but it's also in our day-to-day conversations where we're sharing this and teaching people. So I think it is important to talk about it.
So let's you just mentioned something like the networking and following up. When you're out and about now, what is the standard? Is it you have business cards? Is it you scan the QR code on LinkedIn? What is that? What's the best practice today?
I think it depends what kind of conference you're at. I think an ETH Denver is very different than like a Coin Agenda.
So tell us.
Yeah.
ETH Denver, what's
ETH
the deal?
Denver would be a lot more artists. I think you're going to see a lot more kind of like out there business cards, a lot more like QR codes, where something is Coin Agenda, which is more investor focused. You're going to have probably more traditional business cards or also QR codes, but it's going to be less of the kind of creator artist distribution of your information.
Okay.
So, I think it's important to, if you have paper cards, bring them. It can't hurt. Sometimes people might not want to take it, but at least you have it. Sometimes I've come across people where their phone dies and they just want a paper card so they can have that. So it's kind of a backup. I actually usually keep one in the back of my phone between the phone and the case, just like one of them. That way I always have a card. That way somebody can at least take a picture.
Take a picture, great tip.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's kind of a little, I guess, thing that I do. And then I think having a QR code on your phone is really good that has all of your information. You can change it online if your title or anything changes, so the information is always updated. And then, LinkedIn is good. You can scan the QR code there. Sometimes just messaging right away with somebody. I know a lot of people will take a picture with the person and send it right away so it's in thread. Sometimes I'll save a contact and then I'll screenshot it so it's like in my camera roll. That way I can kind of be like, oh, okay, these are the few people I met last night that I want to follow up with. So I think there's a lot of different ways to kind of keep track of it, but with meeting so many people, I think it's important to have some sort of system that you're able to kind of look back and recall who you're connecting with and who are the people that you really want to follow up with. And last thing I'll say on that, if you're saving contacts, I think it's a good idea to just save any relevant notes in that contact so that you can either search it or have a reference as to like what you connected on. That way when you talk next time, it's fresh.
No, that's a good one. In fact, I'll use that as a segue to Chris. Chris, do you take notes at any of the sessions that you listen to?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, no, really, do you?
Yeah, I do. I take it on my cell phone. I take notes on my cell phone. I do.
Would you recommend that people do or don't? You've been going to A lot of
I guess
you.
to each his own.
Okay.
I'm actually, it's easier for me to take notes in my brain than write it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when I write it down, I tend to forget. But when I'm just focused on it, then it's a lot easier. So I try to just focus on the presentation at hand, or in my cell phone.
So the two other panelists mentioned that you kind of come back from the conference recognizing that you've been on this metaphorical high, right? Like you're excited, you're learning, you're growing, you're meeting people, you're doing things. It's awesome. How do you come back in? How do you re-enter the more day-to-day life? Because you're so high energy, right? And you're so excited and you share it with other people. You've got to be turbocharged, but do you come back and try to gauge the level that others are receiving you at, or do you?
Man, that's a really good question, Jim. There's a dude, I'm not sure if you guys heard of him. His name is Patrick David.
Okay.
You guys heard of him? So he's from Florida. He's a really famous dude. He's also does podcasts. So I went to one of his conferences in Florida last year, and when I went there, I was so immersed in the conversation and the conference, what I learned. So when I came back to Houston, I was even on more of a high. So when I go to these conferences and come back, if I'm on level 5 on like these conferences, I come back, I'm on level 10 because I just gained a lot more information. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to execute.
The crowd wants to know what level you're at right now.
Oh, hey, right now I'm on level 6. But when we finish this conference, I'll be on level 10 because of Sarah and David.
Okay. Michael, yeah.
I'm sorry, Michael, of the information they're sharing.
Fair enough. No, it's been great information. In fact, I want to make sure each of you, first off, thank you for being here this evening and taking time out of your very busy schedules. I want to know, you're running conferences now. You're running conferences out of town, right? You live in Houston, but you're doing major things in Austin and Miami. You're doing things in Las Vegas. You're all over the world. I mean, were you a participant and became such a fan of and engaged in the conferences and saw so much value that you said, I want to take my experiences and grow them? Or what? I want to hear from each of you what got you into the space that you're now running these things on a worldwide basis.
Yeah, I think for me, with working with Polygon in the early days, I was doing a lot of their marketing. And for me, it was like, what is the next level up? And seeing kind of like all the different ecosystems work in separate silos, literally everyone's in their own tunnel vision and they're working by themselves or kind of in a certain path. What I wanted to do is I wanted to connect every single one of them together and say, for 2 days, I don't care about who's a competitor, who's not a competitor, if you don't like them. Companies will come together and push together for global effort. So I think whenever we decided to do Miami last year was because basically that was, Florida at the time was the only area that was fully opening up. So we decided to go to Miami, and that's also when Mayor Suarez was starting to be very acceptable for Bitcoin. So we decided to do Miami, and at that conference, we placed competitors together on the same panel. We placed people that really had a lot of beef with each other online and things like that, to where they're like, hey, look, I don't care about exclusives. I just want you guys to talk about the subject and really talk about the bigger picture. I placed Chainlink, Boba Network, Harmony, and Polygon onto a panel, and they were all working in their separate ecosystems at one time. But after the conference, they decided to get together to create a Web3 fund that then helps, basically do a multi-chain fund to help each one of them grow. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it to where everyone just comes together and work, because the bigger picture is not us fighting each other. It's actually us helping so that more people are actually getting into the space to see what the technology is all about. I want blockchain, the word blockchain, to be in a vocabulary of everyone around the world, no matter what region. And so that's kind of like why we started to do events and try to take it global, is because each city has their own niches and their own people, and we wanted to be able to impact them in a way that potentially could, give them opportunities for new jobs, new advancements, or just new tech to help out.
So that purpose for greater good, did it come from an experience that you had at a conference early on, or?
It came from me just kind of like wanting to express and show everyone the love of what happened to me. So whenever I got into learning about blockchain, it was literally a whole bunch of mentors literally said, hey, look, we'll show you the right path, but for you, always being a student, you have to learn how to navigate it. And people were really receptive and really taking care of me, in terms of like, hey, look, read this paper, read this research paper, try to learn about this, here's how you dive into it. And now that those people that have been there since 2017, A lot of them retire, but for me, it's kind of like, it's my next wave. It's my turn to give back. So it's kind of like my turn to make sure that I can lead the next the wave of people that come in, and just make sure that they're properly, getting the right resources, instead of back then where it was like really difficult to find stuff to kind of really learn.
Are you the first person in your family to move into the blockchain space?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to use that as a segue to talk to Sarah, who was, I think, born into blockchain, if not Bitcoin. Is that a fair assessment, astute assessment?
That is fair to say, yeah. I was hearing about blockchain and Bitcoin since probably late 2012.
Okay.
Didn't really have.
Did you have a miner at your house?
Yeah.
No, we did
No,
not.
okay,
Not
just
that
I mean,
know of.
I mean, could be.
I don't know.
Okay.
But
So you were 12 when your first exposure.
No, 2012. I was not 12.
Oh, okay.
2012.
All right, fair enough.
I'm a bit older than that. But thank
All right,
you.
fair enough, fair enough. But for you, as you work in this space that has a lot of challenges, and you mentioned some friction, do you see the competitiveness and the?
I think. Well, I want to go back to
Yeah.
just kind of my story into this
Yeah.
space, because I've been hearing about blockchain and crypto and Bitcoin since 2012, but my first conference actually was in March of 2014. Shout out to Paul Snow, the Texas Bitcoin Conference.
Okay.
My dad invited me to go to it. It was in Austin at F1, and I was living in Austin, and I've been hearing a lot about
F1 Formula One?
Yes,
Okay,
at
just
the
make sure.
track.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I'd been hearing a lot about it, but I really didn't know much about it. And so I said yes to going to the conference, because I'm all about, having a new experience and just kind of learning and growing. And I think that's a lot of what this industry is. And so I said yes. And I remember sitting in that room, everything was gibberish. It was a lot of stuff. And that was also the moment where I sort of had my mind open to being in the space.
Okay.
And I would say at my core is community. And so doing events is not anything new for me. I think ever since, even being 11, 12 years old as a camp counselor, it's about creating experience. It's about creating community. It's about creating memories and building relationships. And I think that's the core of events. And I've been working with Coin Agenda and Bit Angels for the last about year and a half. And previously I've worked in a lot of different spaces around events, but at the core it's community. And I think that, when you talk about is there competition, and you're talking about wanting to grow the industry, and I think we all have, every organizer, founder might have their own internal mission, but I think at the core, like where we should be, or like what we are doing, is spreading education, spreading community, spreading awareness around blockchain, and where we're going with it, and kind of what it's doing. Chris, you're here bringing the Metaverse to us, showing us how we can have events in the Metaverse, and that's a new experience for me, so thank you.
No problem. Thank you for Jim for giving everybody this opportunity to be on this platform.
Yeah, and so I think, as we continue, obviously we've seen a lot of events pop up and grow. Like Coin Agenda has been around since 2014, and Bit Angels since 2013, so those were some of the earlier events, but now there are so many events, and there's so many different.
Would you like to mention what you just did in Houston as we kind of wind down? I do want to give each of you a little bit. I see a hand going up there in the background.
So Bit Angels just launched Houston about a month ago. We also launched Hollywood at the iHollywood Film Festival at the beginning of September. We have 3 new Bit Angels chapters. So we have Utah County and Park City in Utah, and then we also have Orange County in California. So we have 5 new chapters that we've launched in the last 2 months, which is
Wow.
really exciting.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then obviously we just had Coin Agenda in Vegas a couple weeks ago. We had Coin Agenda Europe in Monaco back in May. That was right before F1. That was a pretty neat experience, getting to walk on the track with all of the blockchain, Web3 people.
So what is the F1 crypto connection?
Crypto.
Cars and crypto? Okay.
Crypto.com was
I
one
like-
of the main sponsors of F1 in
Yeah,
Monaco, so
yeah.
that's one of the big connections. And I think, just
Could be money. Could be
Yeah.
the money thing.
some of the same people.
yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, we have Coin Agenda coming up in Puerto Rico in December, part of Puerto Rico Blockchain Week right after Decentral. So go to Decentral, stay for Art Basel in Miami.
When is that, Michael?
November 28th and 29th, but definitely stay for Art Basel. So
Okay.
all the way to the 4th, and then right after that, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be in Puerto Rico for Puerto Rico Blockchain Week, the 5th through the 10th.
Any ideas on like hotels and
I will book now.
book now, travel?
Book now. Fairmont El San Juan is they're doing like a Blockchain Week special since there are 2 conferences there that week. But there are so many conferences in Puerto Rico, so whatever your budget is, there are Airbnbs, there are hotels. You can
Quick
find
parenthetical beside. Go ahead, Chris.
Really quickly.
You can't stop Chris. You can only hope to contain him.
How much more?
No, somebody just, yeah, it is. Somebody right now just texted me from the Metaverse, and what they said.
They have an event in Puerto Rico.
They're listening to what Sarah's
Yeah.
saying. They're happy. Look. Hey, Puerto Rico.
Yes, we do.
That's crazy.
Coinagenda.com is our
They
website.
hear you.
Coinagenda.com.
That's crazy.
And there is an event, the Texas Blockchain Summit. I will tell you, to that point, the AT&T Conference Center, the hotel rooms sold out before the tickets sold out, because I think people book the flights and book the hotels because they can cancel them later, and then they wait a bit to buy the tickets. But Chris, I know you've already bought your ticket. You're actually going to be a speaker on stage. We hope both of you join us at the Texas Blockchain Summit. You're all invited. But Chris, what was your purpose or your passion? Can you trace it back to an event? They say that the things you do between 8 and 13, they're the things you do as an adult as coping mechanisms. So I don't know what it was you did between 8 and 13, but I love the way you engage and get excited with all these opportunities that are in front of us. What do you think?
What was my passion to how I got started in blockchain? Or
Yeah, like what makes you so excited about what you're doing?
So I'll make it really quick because it's a long story. But when I was from 13 to 18, I used to do import-export with China and the U.S. That was when China first joined the WTO, World Trade Organization. And so basically I had a lot of experience when I was a lot younger with China. Then
You live there, you're fluent?
No. I'm born in Houston.
Oh, okay.
I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas.
All right.
So I was just importing stuff from China to Houston.
Oh, okay. I got you.
From 13 to 18. And when I was 18 years old, I met somebody in Houston. He's a Texas oil man. I met him, and he decided to sponsor me to go to China to study there for 15 years. So I did my bachelor's, my MBA, my doctorate degree. While I was pursuing my doctorate degree in China, I graduate next semester, but while I was pursuing my doctorate degree, I decided to open a Bitcoin factory. I opened it in the western part of China in Xinjiang. It's where the Muslims are. So
Okay.
I opened it there, and that was in 2017. That was the beginning of me entering in blockchain. It was a hell of a ride. I got in Bitcoin when the Bitcoin was around $2,000. It went from 2,000 to 20,000, and we're mining it. I thought I was the richest man alive.
Yeah.
And then at 20,000, it just dropped back to $2,000, and I had to close the factory down. And I was just sitting on a whole bunch of Bitcoins, but, I was...
All right, at that moment, what made you say, I'm staying?
No, I had no choice.
Oh, you were...
No, the factory closed down. All I had was the coins, and I couldn't sell the coins for $2,000. So I got trapped in this system.
Okay.
I was unlucky. I got trapped. But I think what really made me stay was when I came back from China in America in 2020, and at that time the cryptocurrencies just started appreciating.
Yeah.
And then that's when
Up and to the right.
Excuse me?
Up and to the right.
Up and to the right, there you go.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started seeing, man, and not just from a financial standpoint, but I started from 2017 to 2020. That's when I was monitoring it, and I was seeing all the development that was going on. And the more I monitored it, the more I saw the potential of blockchain and the potential where the space was going. So my situation was I got trapped into this by a very unfortunate situation, but that situation turned out to be the biggest blessing in disguise because I've learned so much about it this past 3 years in turmoil.
All right, well, the audience wants to know, if you wrote it up to 20 and fell down to 2, what did you do last year when it went to 60?
It's a good question. I kept 95% of it. I sold maybe 5 just to recoup some daily living. But
Yeah.
I'm holding on to it because I really
To take care of the private jet?
No. I really believe in online technology. I really believe in what it's doing for mankind, and I really see the future in cryptocurrency, in blockchain, in the metaverse. So I'm a long-time holder. I don't plan to sell it. That's not my agenda. And what's so funny? Another thing, a lot of you guys may know, you can actually take loans out on Bitcoin. So I don't see a reason why somebody should sell it if you could actually take a loan out on it as well. Like, what would
Melanie wants to know about the private jet. Just
That's
so.
that's the Puerto Rico one. She actually, it's so funny. She's from Puerto Rico, and so when Sarah was talking about it, she's in Puerto Rico now, dancing and happy. It's crazy. She texts me.
Wow.
Yeah, she's from Puerto Rico.
There's a private jet company that actually will be at Coin Agenda.
Wow.
I'll introduce you if you come.
You hear her, Melanie? She's here.
Whoa.
She's here.
All right.
Yeah.
Noted. On the record.
And they're on blockchain. I forgot that. That's the relevancy.
Okay. Well, Chris, closing thoughts to take us home.
Nah, I just think, guys, like I said, what we're doing right now is so revolutionary. We're in the phases of where the internet started for our parents' age in 1999, 2001. I think we're going into a new revolution, whether it's Web3, whether it's blockchain or anything. So my company, Metatrekkers, we're bullish on education. We're bullish on working together with people as far as influencers and conferences and trying to stream it in the metaverse so we can take this global and make it worldwide. So I'm just very happy and grateful for Jim to give us this opportunity, for Texas Blockchain Council Lee Bradshaw, and just for a lot of you guys as well, for you guys to be here as speakers and support people all around the world. Again, we are going to be collaborating with Michael at Decentraland. We'll be streaming it in the metaverse as well, possibly as well, Texas Blockchain Council, possibly working with TBC as well. So I'm excited on what's going on. I'm just thankful and I'm happy. And the future is bright. The future is bright. And let's continue to build together, guys, in Web3.
How about you, Sarah? Do you want to follow that?
Let's keep going, and it's going to be exciting. And thank you, Chris. Thank you, Michael, and to our virtual
friends.
Our virtual friends.
All of our dancing buddies in the metaverse.
Yeah, they're watching over
Yeah.
my shoulder. Yes, I'm better behind the camera than I am in front of it. Michael, how about you? Closing thoughts, and this will close us out.
I want to correct something that he said earlier. He said
Uh-oh.
it's a bear market. It's actually a builder's market.
There you go.
Because
There you
everyone's
go.
gonna build, so
Yeah.
I like
ups
that.
and downs.
Like that.
But also for that too, it's like if you guys are looking into getting into the blockchain, like start researching, start trying to find, if you're a developer, start developing some tools and tinkering around with it. I think that the industry has so much potential to grow, and we're just at the kind of like the tip of the iceberg of it. Even though people are like, "Hey, the wave is over," I don't think the kind of like the new wave of innovation is going to come out. I mean, the new wave of innovation is complete. Because for kind of like medicine is kind of coming into it, decentralized science, DeFi, NFTs. Like we haven't even seen majority of it really built out. Like real estate. There's so many different areas that we can definitely utilize blockchain technology for.
You're getting applause from the crowd.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you for. Thank you.
This is Mike.
Thank you to our studio audience today.
Well, he's like, yeah, he said it. He said it.
There you go. And thank you to everybody for letting us test the very limits of technology as we grow faster, better together. Everybody have a great night. Signing off. Go Astros.
Go Astros.
Astros.